Gillis Cisneros doesn't enter this hearing quietly. He storms in with a purpose, and you can feel it from the very first line. There are moments in congressional oversight when a member abandons the soft gloves and decides to make it plain. This was one of those moments. Cisneros isn't probing Pete Hegseth. He isn't gently nudging him for information. He's indicting his entire tenure, point by point, in real time, and doing it directly to his face.
I recognize the gentleman from California, Mr. Cisneros.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, so many topics to cover. I represent California's 31st District, located in Southern California, where you've deployed the National Guard and Marine Combat Battalion in an effort by this administration to provoke a confrontation. God only knows for what reason. As my colleague from Tennessee mentioned, the military has been activated before by the president, but let's tell the whole story. President Johnson federalized the troops after the governor of Alabama activated them to keep black students out of the University of Alabama. President Johnson did it so the students could attend the university. He did it for the right reason. He corrected a wrong. California did not ask the president for help, and the presence of the military is an effort by this administration to intimidate and incite fear and violence amongst its citizens. You failed at ensuring basic operational security by sharing classified data over an unclassified network. This was blatant, lazy, and put service members' lives at risk. And knowing that your office is a SCIF, I hope you are not bringing in your devices, your personal cell phone, or even your work phone, because that's not supposed to be in there either, right, your cell phone, into your office to send these signal chat texts. Your blatant lack of basic OPSEC would have gotten you forced you to resign from any other administration. You're requiring 8% cuts across all services, not to save the taxpayers money, but to fund President Trump's pet projects. You talk about quality of life for our service members, but yet you take $1 billion away from the Army that was meant to improve their barracks and their living. You said that money waste, but we don't know that yet because we haven't seen a budget. If the president has projects he wants funding for, you need to come before this body and provide reasoning, not just shift money around. Right now, you are stealing from our service members, robbing Peter to pay Paul. Now you have repeatedly said that you will judge every individual on their merit. Is that true?
Unlike the previous administration,
You will
yes,
judge
we are focusing
simple yes
on,
or no.
for our service
Judge
members,
everybody
how
on their
good they
merit.
are at their job, yes.
But yet you are separating thousands of service members who are performing and doing their job at a high level. They are being separated not based on merit. You know, some of them have been recommended for early promotion and have gotten awards and are doing a great job, but you are separating for no other reason, and frankly, I think you just don't like them. And you are classifying many of them as a national security threat, which is simply not true. You asked the Secretary of the Navy to change the name of the ship, because Harvey Milk didn't meet your definition of warrior ethos. If a Korean War veteran and a Navy diver who gave his life for standing up for his beliefs doesn't meet your definition, I don't know what will. You keep talking about recruiting, but let's face the facts here, right? Recruiting started improving before President Trump even came into office, and the reason that changed was because of the investment that was put into recruiting. Now, I was at the Pentagon at the time, and I know how much we invested in it, and I know how much of the services. And when you take away that investment, you're going to get exactly what happened in President Trump's first administration. In 2019, we had the same recruiting crisis that, back in 2019 when he was president the first time. You continue to attack diversity, but I have always said diversity is about creating opportunity. And I have seen plenty of individuals, many of them enlisted members, who when given the opportunity have succeeded, not because of their sex, not because of color, not because of their sexual identity, but because of their worth ethic and merit. Mr. Secretary, when using your definition of DEI, I think there's only one individual at the Pentagon right now who got his job based on that merit, and that is you, and you got it because of sucking up to your boss. And with that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Chair
What makes this exchange so riveting isn't just the accusations, it's the contrast between them. Cisneros draws a straight historical line from moments when federal force was used to correct injustice, and he slams Hegseth with the argument that today's military deployment in California isn't about restoring rights, but provoking fear. There's a deeper educational point here. The use of the military on U.S. soil isn't just policy, it's precedent, and Cisneros is forcing viewers to remember that precedent has meaning. Then he shifts, and the temperature in the room spikes. He hits Hegseth with something that every military professional understands. Operational security isn't optional, it's sacred. So when Cisneros accuses the secretary of leaking classified data across an unsecured network, he isn't just criticizing him. He's telling the public that the man in charge of protecting service members may be endangering them instead. It's a pointed moment, one where the usually invisible rules of national security suddenly come into sharp focus. And it only escalates. Cisneros moves through budget cuts, barracks funding, Trump's pet projects, and the exodus of resources from service members. He frames it not as policy disagreement, but as a moral imbalance, stealing from troops to pay for political optics. He draws a contrast. Leaders are supposed to invest in their military, not strip it to build monuments to power. Then comes the charge that hits the deepest, the claim that thousands of service members are being separated not because of performance, not because of discipline, but because Hegseth allegedly doesn't like them. That's not a policy critique, that's a judgment of character, and Cisneros says it while looking Hegseth directly in the eye. But the moment that will echo the loudest is the closing line, the one designed to land like a hammer. When Cisneros tells Hegseth he only got his job by sucking up to your boss, the hearing room effectively freezes. That's not political disagreement. That's a full-blown, on-camera character assassination. It's an accusation that cuts right to legitimacy, suggesting that Hegseth's authority isn't earned, but gifted out of loyalty. Whether viewers agree, disagree, or land somewhere in between, one thing is undeniable. This was one of the most personal, unfiltered confrontations we've seen in a House hearing this year, and it reveals something deeper than the shouting match. It shows the widening gap between military governance as an institution and military governance as a political arm, a tension that Cisneros forces into daylight. Before we go, I want to know what you think. Was Cisneros exposing legitimate issues, or did he go too far into the personal? Does intensity bring accountability, or does it erode the process? Drop your thoughts. I read every one. If you want more breakdowns like this, real commentary, real analysis, real explanations behind the political theater, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.